I'm starting a video diary about the process of using an altruistic surrogate, specifically in Indiana. I'm 36, my husband's 36, although I'll be 37 in 3 months. And we decided to have a baby through surrogate because of my health conditions. If you've seen a past video of mine, which you probably haven't, I think it has like 1,000 views, you'll know that I have health issues, dysautonomia being the primary reason why we don't want to risk having a baby ourselves. Dysautonomia is a failure of the autonomic nervous system, which controls things like breathing, blood pressure, your body temperature, bowel movements, the movement of your bladder, and more. And because of that, I have paralysis of the stomach, the upper third of my stomach, which leads to chronic dehydration, malnourishment. I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty skinny. But low blood pressure, the lowest my blood pressure has gotten down to was in the 40s, over 20s. The lowest my heart rate has gotten down to has been in the 30s. I had treatment with a home nurse for 5 months to do 2 liters of fluid 3 days a week intravenously because I was not getting enough fluid, and that did not help my blood pressure come up. That didn't help anything. So they took me off that protocol, like I said, after 5 months. But the point is, we have secured an altruistic surrogate, which is my husband's best friend's wife. And I have been looking online for surrogacy stories. I've been looking on YouTube, Reddit, Quora. I've seen videos of women who are surrogates and they show their baby bump like about to give birth, and then like, you know, here's my $30,000 or, you know, but I am struggling to find stories of women who are using a surrogate. I've seen some stories, like I said, on Reddit and other discussion boards where people just kind of break down, yeah, it cost us $150,000, but it was so worth it, and don't really elaborate. Or they say, well, you know, you have to get a lawyer, and then you have to get medically cleared, and then you have to do the egg retrieval, but they don't really go into details about that. So I messaged our gestational carrier, meaning that she will use my egg and my husband's sperm to carry our baby. Told her that I think I want to start a video diary about this process and put it on YouTube, and I would love it if she would join me. And she said that that would be fine, although this is the first video, so she's not joining me. Just in case, I don't know. No, I'll post it anyway. I was going to say just in case the pregnancy doesn't take, or, you know, whatever, but you know what, I'll just post the whole thing anyway. So we are in the very early stages of surrogacy, and let me tell you, we do not have $150,000 like some other people to have a baby this way. But because we live in Indiana and we are using an altruistic surrogate, we might be able to pay about what it cost if we would have had the normal baby ourselves, if I would have given birth to the baby ourselves. So let me explain. Firstly, our legal fees are going to be very minimal. Indiana does not recognize surrogacy contracts as legal documents. They are completely void in Indiana except for just a couple of parts. So other states may require you to, both of you get separate lawyers, and you draw up contracts and you put in stipulations for how you want the carrier to behave during the pregnancy, for example, and if she doesn't follow through with, I don't know, it could be a number of things, STD testing throughout, proof of taking medications, or at least getting the prescriptions filled for any condition she might have. It could be just whatever. Indiana doesn't recognize that. So this is cutting our legal fees down very, very low compared to other states. Now, I spoke with an attorney, a family attorney, that they specialize in adoption and surrogacy and other things like that, and it is going to be $2,500 for us to, okay, so here's the thing. We have to draw up a surrogacy contract anyway, because the fertility clinic that does the embryo transfers requires a surrogacy contract to be signed between both parties. The only legal part of it is that this is my egg, my husband's sperm. We are giving the permission for the embryo to be transferred into this other woman. So because of that, it's only $2,500 for the contract, because everything else is null and void, so nothing else really needs to get written up. That really saves on the lawyer's time, all the paperwork, everything. So $2,500. Now, she is going to need her own separate attorney to represent her. She doesn't have to have one, but it is recommended. And our legal team said she should be able to retain one for about $1,500. Usually, as a courtesy, the biological parents, which would be myself and my husband, pay for that. And we did speak to her, and they would like to go ahead and retain a lawyer. So that's going to bring our legal fees up to $4,000. And basically all that lawyer would do, from what I've been told so far, is to review the contract and sign off his okay on it. The final legal piece would be to file an order of parentage, and you can do that through a lawyer, or as I understand it, you can file that yourself. If we use a lawyer, that's going to be another $3,000. And you want to start doing this in the second trimester, he said. You can wait until the third if you want. But basically you get verification from a physician saying that this is this person's egg and this person's sperm, and they are married. If you don't do that and submit that to the court, then in Indiana, the surrogate and her married spouse are legally the parents, even though it can be biologically proven that they are not, the biological parents. So we're going to go ahead and use the lawyer also to file all of that paperwork and get everything from the doctor, everything with the embryo transfer, everything saying that, like, DNA wise, this is me and my husband's baby. Once that's filed with the court, then the order, I believe, is within 48 hours, I think, of delivering the baby, it has to be surrendered to me and my husband. So, in summary, because of Indiana not acknowledging surrogacy agreements, our legal fees are estimated to be, doing the right thing and paying also for her to have an attorney, $7,000. And I have seen people on threads paying, $40, $50. So $7,000, okay? Now, the other thing I noticed in the threads were people saying how expensive their fertility shots were. $14,000 just for one one cycle of a fertility shot. I do not have a history of infertility. My husband and I have never tried to have a baby, so I am not diagnosed with infertility. We have always used protection to avoid it because of my health conditions. So I went to the OBGYN. Well, excuse me. First of all, I went to my dysautonomia specialist, which is in Ohio, about 4 hours from where I live, and he gave the clearance that I should be able to do fine on a fertility medication because you have to take that to get as many mature eggs during the egg extraction as possible. He said I should be fine. He did say that he could get me through a pregnancy. He did say that they have technically never had anyone die during a pregnancy. So if I wanted to try, it could be a total bed rest situation. It could not, but it is something that I should not at least die from. And, after thinking about it, I was like, forget that. Not into it. Let's go with the surrogate, which again, she and her husband have graciously, they don't want any payment from this. Now, my husband and I, we want to take care of more than their medical bills, more than what their insurance doesn't cover. We want to give them some sort of compensation. We can work that out by ourselves, because again, it wouldn't matter if we had a contract drawn up or not. In Indiana, it wouldn't count for anything. So, okay, point is, so then I go to my OB for a second clearance. Got my pap smear and everything while I was there anyway. And he said, yes, that I should be fine to go ahead because this is an elective procedure. They do put you under general anesthesia. Most places do. And anesthesia gives you low blood pressure. I already have that. And I've been denied for an elective procedure once before. It wasn't anything like plastic surgery or anything. It was actually an elective female procedure to retrieve my eggs like 9 years ago. And they didn't want to do it. My dysautonomia was so new. Well, kind of new. It's a progressive condition, and the point is, I ended up getting denied at the last minute, or at the last stages, before I was supposed to start taking the fertility medication. So here we are 9 years later. This OB says that, with the backing of my specialist in Ohio, that he doesn't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to undergo a 10-minute egg extraction procedure. Now to the cost. The cost of injectable fertility treatments is incredibly expensive. My health insurance doesn't cover any part of it. I have a supplemental plan, and they also don't cover any part of it. So, I did research, and there are grants and scholarships that you can apply to from various, I saw some from actual fertility clinics. I saw some from just support groups. Most of what I saw required you to have a confirmed diagnosis of infertility to apply for these grants or scholarships. I do not have that. I am not known to be infertile. I've never tried. So with that in mind, I asked the OB, what do you think, since I am not diagnosed with infertility, do you think I would be able to do the fertility pill instead? There is a pill version which is used for couples struggling to get pregnant, usually in the early stages, and according to my pharmacy is only $90. Now I don't know if that's $90 per pill, because I believe the typical protocol is to take 5, or if that's for the whole 5. The point is, it's way less than $14,000 and $15,000. So he said, in his professional opinion, I should be able to just take the much more affordable pill for the egg maturation process and then go ahead and get the extraction that way, instead of having to take out a personal loan just to try to get fertility shots to try to have a baby. And but he did say, so he referred me to the actual fertility clinic that does the embryo transfers, because they don't do it there, and he said it will actually be up to that doctor's protocol, and it varies based on patients. But again, since I don't have a history of infertility, and he just said he, more than likely, he'd think that they would let me try it that way. And I gotta say, that's probably going to be the only time that we're going to try this. If we can do it with a pill and keep it cheap, do the one egg extraction, and then however many embryos come out of that, try the implantation once, and if it doesn't take, then that's probably all we're going to do to try to have a baby. And then, so my husband and I and the surrogate and her husband we haven't gone to the fertility clinic yet because I just got the referral for it. It's Saturday now. I just got the referral for it on Thursday, late afternoon. So in the coming couple of weeks, I'll have more information, but supposedly the egg extraction for me is going to be around another $3,000. So I'm trying to think, okay, if we have roughly $7,000 in legal, 90, maybe $450 in the fertility drug. Let's just round that to 500. So let's say 7,500, another 3,000 for the extraction. And then once she gets implanted, her insurance, which she has the same insurance as her husband, who has the same insurance as my husband, who has a different insurance from me because I am handicapped from dysautonomia. Their insurance is supposed to treat the surrogacy as if it's her own biological child. So from there, we would cover medical costs that her insurance doesn't pay. So if it only pays, I don't know, whatever percent of the checkups or ultrasounds or whatever, we would pay the rest of their medical bills. And again, of course, this is on good faith because those surrogacy contracts are not legal in Indiana. With all this being said, this is how to get a baby via surrogate on the cheap. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just, you know, people are always like, why don't you adopt? Why don't you do a surrogate? Well, if I had $60,000 to $100,000 to adopt, you know, but I don't. Or if, you know, it's such a cost prohibitive situation. We've thought about fostering, and maybe that's something we would still do in the future, but because of my age, because I'm going to be 37 in 2 months, 3 months, whatever. It's January now, I'll be 37 in March. The pressure is really on to freeze my eggs. The OB gave me an example, I can't remember of which genetic anomaly it was, but he said because of my age now, as opposed to having a 1 in 5,000 risk, the baby would now have a 1 in 500, which is still relatively low, but obviously much greater risk. So the real pressure is on to get this fertility treatment started, extract these eggs, and get them frozen, if not fertilized, all in one go. So I'm going to post another video when we have our appointment and get the official price breakdowns and see about all of this. You know, another thing, when you're having the baby yourself, the insurance gets billed first, and you hopefully are in a position to pay off your medical bills over time. With surrogacy, you have more things that are due upfront and in full. Although that may depend on the clinic, whether they have payment plans. Point is, I will be documenting this whole journey and every step of the way as far as the appointments and the cost and the legalities, so that maybe someone out there can be like, oh, okay, these are like, this is like, yeah, duh, I know I need to speak to legal. Duh, I know I need to go to the doctor and make sure that I'm healthy. Like, you know, but there is more to it than that. So I'm going to upload this and try to, well, this is 21 minutes already. I feel like I've been talking for about 10. So I'm sorry. I'm going to try to keep these videos short in the future, but for now, I will go ahead and post this, and hopefully in less than 2 weeks, I will have another video up of our first trip all together and our first trip ever to the actual fertility clinic, the actual embryo transfer place, with a price breakdown, and see how many of these fertility pills, like, please will you let me do the cheaper pill versus the shot, which we just, you know, I don't want to go. I don't want to go that far. You get more extreme reactions. I probably don't need it, based on my ovarian health. So anyway, more to come hopefully in 2 weeks. And if you made it this far, thank you very much.